Hello everyone, this is Jake, your resident content cowboy here, yee-haw, and I am broadcasting live from this EDM dance club of a video game, Arcadegeddon. I'm going to be bringing you some tips that I think are great for newer players, and hopefully some things that help you if you're way, way better than I am. This, of course, is one of my classic tips for beginners and cool people's video. I hope you enjoy it. My first tip is, as long as you can do this, I think you should do this, you need to take a quest before you go into a run. I know that won't be possible forever, at least I'm assuming. I haven't burned through all the quests in the game. But you meet these NPCs in your hub environment, and they will give you a challenge to bring into a run with you. Boy, maybe I should talk about runs first. I'll talk about runs here in a second. But you want to talk to one of these NPCs, take the quest from them, and try, if you can, to complete all the objectives of that quest in one run. If you want to switch to another quest line with a different NPC, you can do that, and you won't lose the progress you made on a different NPC's quest line. Right here, you watch me. I decide to switch my quest to Skedaddle's quest line, and I now can use these challenges inside my run. If I'd like, I can go back to my previous quest giver, accept their challenge, and I will still have the completed quests that I have completed. Now, quests are either completed or not completed in a single run. So as you can see, I need to get 50 kills at long distance for this run. If I get 49 kills and then I die, I get no progress. It's either you complete the objective or you do not. So something to keep in mind. I would recommend trying to complete all the objectives in one run. My second tip is just about the overall structure of this game. It is a run-based roguelike game. So every time you head into the game of this outside of your hub world, you are on a run. What that means is everything you find inside that run goes away once it's done. You get tickets for completing it. You can complete quests and get experience that gives you cosmetics and things like that outside of this particular run. But everything you get in that run, every gun, all of it, it goes away. So I guess my tip here is just to understand how a game like this functions. You don't need to keep any of that rocket launcher ammo for the next run. It won't be there with you. My next tip is a Tom Holland, meaning it's short and sweet. Is he short? He feels short. Anyway, to look at your quests that you are trying to complete, or your challenges as this game calls them, just press in on the middle pad and you can pull them up at any time in your run. You can see your progress on them, and you can even see if what you're doing is triggering them. I wanted to know if a certain distance I was killing people at counted as long distance. So there you go. That's a little Tom Holland tip. My next tip is about guns, guns, and more guns. Guns are kind of everything inside your run. Well, that's not true. There are hacks. There are lots of things that are important. But boy, are guns important. You have 3 slots for weapons. When you start, you just start with 2 weapons. And once you pick up a third, it automatically fills that third slot. I personally prefer to have 2 guns that require ammunition and 1 gun that is more special, sort of your big, I'm in trouble, let's lay waste to everything gun. And I'll explain why. So there are, I guess, a few different types of guns. I'm not sure how many. I haven't categorized them all yet. But for the purposes of what I'm talking about right now, there are 2 types. There are guns that you can pick up ammunition for, and guns you cannot pick up ammunition for. So, my middle slot that you're seeing in this video right now is an incinerator. It's a really great close-range flamethrower that just does insane amounts of damage. I really, really like it. There are a few guns in this game that I'm already sort of really warming up to. Huh? Incinerator? Warming up to? So the incinerator is a gun that when you pick up, it has a finite amount of ammo, and you can never get any more. And there are a lot of guns like this. You'll notice them as you go to pick the weapons up. Actually, let me pull a little clip here. This is what it looks like when you walk to a new weapon that you find inside of a chest. Right now, I'm looking at this rocket launcher called the Cold Shoulder and thinking about replacing my current gun with it. If you'd like to replace a different gun, just hit triangle, swap to a different gun, and then you can hold square to swap. But what I wanted to talk about was how to know if this gun is a gun that has ammo that you can pick up, or if this gun is one of those special guns that has one big clip of ammo and you need to throw it away. Computer, enhance visuals. Okay, no, that's too enhanced. Back it up. There we go. Again, you can see right here, damage, the rate of fire, how big a magazine is for this weapon, and you can see the ammo this weapon takes. It says 1 of 12, meaning that it will hold 12 rounds in reserve. Now, let's take a look at a weapon that does not let you pick up additional ammo in the environment. This fine piece of equipment here is called the Indiscriminator. You can see where it lists the ammo for this weapon. It's 144 rounds out of a -1. That means you do not pick up ammo for this weapon. It runs out of rounds and then the weapon drops from your inventory. These guns are usually, again, really powerful in certain scenarios, and I love to have one of them around in case some crazy things start to happen. My other 2 slots, at least when you're moving later into the game, I like to have them be weapons that I can pick up ammunition for, one that gives me some pinpoint accuracy, and another that probably lets me deal with crowds, like a submachine gun or assault rifle, maybe a shotgun or something like that. For my next tip, let's talk about melee weapons, or melee weapon, really. It's your bat, and you can pick up a better bat throughout the environment. I really like the bat early on. When the game gets harder and harder and the difficulty level starts to go up by choice or just by going through levels, I find that melee weapons become less and less useful because you really don't want to be engaged with enemies right next to you. They're just doing too much damage, too many of them are exploding, but early on, I love just picking up a bat and swinging it around. It's great for clearing early waves, and it does take a lot of time to get through some of these levels, especially if you're looking for hacks and things like that. Speaking of hacks, let's talk about them. And no, I'm not talking about comedians. I'm talking about hacks. Let's talk about hacks, baby. Let's talk about you and hacks. That's an old reference. So hacks are your passive bonuses that you get in your runs that make you stronger and stronger and able to deal with the increasingly difficult enemies that you will find. So let's take a look at one of these hacks here right about now. Hacks are often found in chests, but I also think it's important to mention that you find them in crates, which we'll talk about in a moment. But they look like this right here. They look like these little Nintendo DS cartridges or floppy disks, and they give you a passive bonus throughout your entire run. Now, again, you lose them once your run is over. Here's me picking up another one, found in a crate. So these bonuses are really huge. And as you go through your run, you're going to stack a ton of these and become more and more and more powerful. You may actually decide what weapons you use based on which hacks you pick up. If you get like a ton of shotgun damage or something here, you can see me actually getting one from a crate. I think that's a pretty important thing to show because at first I thought they were only from chests, but no, you find them in crates as well. And if you ever want to look at all of your hacks, you can do that just by holding down the middle button, the middle pad, just like looking at your quests. Right there, you can see all the hacks I had before I went in and fought this boss. All right. Here I want to talk about destructible objects. You see these right here? They hurt enemies, but they don't hurt you. Fall damage seems to, but you can be right next to these exploding barrels or whatever they are, big things of glowing dynamite, and you can shoot them and not get hurt. Just something to keep in mind. You don't take any damage from something like that. You do, however, take fall damage if you're falling off an edge. You take no fall damage when landing on something, but I guess you take, well, I wouldn't call it fall damage. I guess I'd call it disappearing damage. Let me show you. Again, jumping from any height is fine, but if you fall off a cliff like this, you will take some damage. Not a ton, I should mention. but a little bit. And now I'll talk about your shield, because we're watching my shield take damage here. If you stand still for a little bit of time, your shield will start to recharge. You've seen this in many games, but it's important to use your shield, because if your health gets hit, it's a lot harder to get it back. It does not regenerate naturally. So if you run out of shields, I think the best thing to do is try to get out of that encounter, hide behind the environment, because enemies can't shoot through the environment. So I think that's a great place to be when your shield is down. Just know they are going to come looking for you. When your health does drop, there are a couple ways to get it. The easiest is if you have a chest that hasn't been opened yet. You can open a chest and you'll find little health boxes inside your chest right there. There is also this little station that gives you health if you pay money for it. So when you're breaking open crates and everything, you're gathering currency, whatever the in-run currency is called, that little stuff right there. Let me show you a pay-to-heal station. Let me correct myself, pay-to-live station. So you pay in-game money to heal your health bar, and the nice thing is it actually puts a shield on you while you're doing it, so it protects you from enemy damage. This was from a later moment in my run that got particularly crazy. I had to use that pay-to-heal station or I was going to die, and I died anyway. So what happens when you die, you might ask? Well, you know, that's one of those big questions in life, isn't it? What are we here for? What are we doing? What's Oh, you mean in this game? Well, when you die, if you're playing multiplayer, there's a possibility that an ally will pick you up. If you're playing single player, your only option is to end your run or use a continue. I've found that you get these continues from boss fights. Not every time, I don't believe, at least, because I've beaten the boss more than continues I have. But that's where I have found continues. And that will just take you back to the most recent checkpoint area or little safe space. I know that term has a bad connotation, but in this, it literally just means the area where you're safe. Speaking of this little safe area, let's take a look at it here. So this is what you'll come to at many points in the level. They usually have some crates for you to open up here where you can get credits that you can use. You have this area here where you can swap powers. We haven't talked about that, swapping your surges. We have a little shop where you can buy different weapons. I often don't use this because I find what I need in my runs, but there are things here that can be pretty useful if there's a gun you just really need. You can also fill your ammo. You find ammo inside of crates, so I don't find that particularly useful, but perhaps you really want to pick up one of these guns because you just need that assault rifle. So you buy it. But in general, I don't spend too much money here at the shop. There's a pay-to-live station, which I've talked about a little earlier, that just gives you some health. I prefer to wait until a moment where you actually need it in combat, but hey, that's just me. To each his own. Here we have the devilish machine where you increase the difficulty. Then we have this guy. And you might be thinking, hey, this guy doesn't work. And it does, but it works when you're playing multiplayer. You can play PvP little mini games against people you're playing with. It's actually pretty fun, and you get a hack for playing them. And this increases the difficulty if you pay for it. So it makes the enemies stronger, have more health, more elite enemies come at you. All the terrible things. While you're going through your runs, this is a new tip, by the way, new tip alert. While you're going through your runs, you're going to be encountering these objectives that you have to complete from time to time. You see them over on the right of your screen there. Computer, enhance. And they tell you what you basically need to do. Yes, enhance computer, enhance, larger. Great job, computer. So you need to complete those objectives, and you'll see markers for them in the environment. This one, I need to destroy these floating objects. One of the reasons I love something with pinpoint accuracy is you can just take one shot at these things and get rid of them from across the map. I find that very useful. Let's now talk about bosses. So you need to complete objectives to move on, but a way to also complete a level is once your objectives are done and your boss meter is full, you can fight a boss. So where is your boss meter, you might ask? Computer, enhance. How many times am I going to do this? I'm going to do it. This might be the last time. Computer, enhance. Right up here at the top of your HUD, this little meter here fills. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger with the more enemies you kill. And once it gets full, this indicator, boss fight ready, pops up on the screen. So you get enough score and then you're able to fight the boss. How do you fight the boss? Let me show you. Somewhere in the level, you will find one of these. And all you need to do is shoot it a couple times, and you can enter the warp hole and start a boss fight. Now, this is completely optional. You don't need to do this. It is beneficial to do so, however, and I don't find the boss to be too terribly difficult. I've actually only seen the one boss. Maybe there are others, and I just keep happening upon this one. But it's this big walker thing, looks like something out of Final Fantasy VII. And basically, if you just take your time and avoid its shots, you'll do just fine. You can hit its weak point right there. Almost every enemy has a weak point. That's a little bonus tip for you. Bonus tip. Almost every enemy has a weak point. I think every enemy has a weak point. And this guy's weak point is that little panel right there. It's usually pretty obvious what's weak. Something's head or some glowing part of them. Anyway, you just avoid this boss for a little while, shoot its weak point, and you should make it out of there okay. If it manages to hit you with some fire or something, just wait until your shield recharges, and then you're good to go. You do get more tickets at the end of your run for beating bosses, and you also get this nifty boss chest that's going to pop out soon. By the way, I just love this little pea shooter gun. Look how much damage it does on weak points. It does increased critical damage. So I just find this thing to be so good. And here is that boss chest. They're great. You get multiple hacks from it, tons of coins, tons of different gun options. I find fighting the bosses to be very useful. And as you can see, it awarded me with a continue token. Fighting bosses, I'm all for it, baby. This next one's going to be short and sweet. We'll call it a Pikachu tip. Look for chests. They're all over. They give you better weapons, more hacks. I'm sure you know this by looking at them, but I mean, it's a glowing golden chest. It's beautiful. Open it up, get everything good inside. You need it. You just need it. I just realized I was about to finish my video and I haven't even talked about surge abilities. So there are a bunch of different surge abilities you unlock by leveling your character in this game. You start with the fireball ability, which is very, very good. It's just a straight line shot, a huge ball of fire that pretty much decimates everything in its path. It's really, really great. So my recommendation is to use it often. The reason is you get your ability pretty quickly. It regens quick, and here's how it regens. By killing enemies, you get little blue balls of surge that increase it, and from breaking open crates, you get more surge. So you can actually use your abilities often. As you just see. Am I going to edit that out? I don't think I am. As you just saw, I gained enough surge to use my fireball again. I just used it maybe 30 seconds ago. So in chaotic fights, I love throwing a fireball at a shield guy or near a ton of elite enemies. I highly recommend using it early and often to clear big batches of people. And if you miss with it and it's not too good, who cares? You'll get it back pretty soon, and it's a really, really strong ability. Again, there are more you unlock, but fireball is what you're going to start with. Once you've finally died and your run is over, you get a bunch of tickets for your score, how many coins you had left, what difficulty you were at, the amount of stages completed, the amount of bosses you've defeated, and you can use those in the game's vendor. That vendor is in that hub world. He is your uncle the vendor. I personally am not super crazy about buying different skins for your guns or your character, but that's what you can do with your tickets. There's some cool stuff in here, I guess. Again, it's not really for me. You also get cosmetic items from completing your quests, and I will show you that right now. Just return to the person who originally gave you the quest. Again, I like trying to do all pieces of the quest inside of one mission. You get a ton of experience for it, and you get the cosmetics from that exact character. So that's how you look exactly like this person in the hub world. Obviously, right now, I look just like her. But I can go out and I can look like this guy if I complete all of his quests. And boy, you know what? There's more to say about this game. I hope a lot of these tips have helped, though. I've been talking for a long time, and I hope you found something useful here. I really, really do. So let me know if any of this helped you in the comments, or if there's anything you're still confused about. If you found this helpful, a like, a comment, or a subscribe, it means a lot to me. So thank you all so much. I love you, I love you, I love you. Arcade, get it on. Computer, turn off. Bye.